Welcome to the Daily Plunge. We are in the Acts of the Apostle, starting at chapter 24, verse 24, going through chapter 25, verse 12. Now, Paul has been held prisoner by the Roman governor of Palestine, Judea, Governor Felix, and he likes to trot Paul out and have him talk. After all, Paul is a very well-educated man. And he also brings his Jewish wife to listen to him. And he's hoping that Paul will bribe him or somebody will give him some money to get Paul out. But Paul preaches to him, talks to him about righteousness, self-control, and the judgment to come. And it says that Felix was afraid. Now, one aspect of this is that the gospel always is connected to the law. We think about what Jesus says in John chapter 3, when he says, for God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten Son, so that all those who love him would have eternal life. But the next verse says that those who reject Jesus already stand condemned, because the Lord has sent the one he loves, and they have rejected him. And part of this is that people do not come to faith through the preaching of fear. Now, people do come to faith because the work of the law draws them into the arms of God. But part of that is to hear the gospel. And that's not what Paul's preaching a lot of law, a lot of works. And so Felix becomes afraid, and he's just not interested in the gospel. Well, Felix's term is over, and a new governor shows up. It's 2 years later, and the Sanhedrin has not forgotten about Paul. And when Festus, the new governor, goes down, they're wheeling and dealing with him, trying to get him to bring Paul down to Jerusalem, because they want to spring an ambush. They're conspiring once again to kill Paul. And Festus says, "No, why don't we go up to Jerusalem, up to Caesarea from Jerusalem, and we'll talk there." And so he says to Paul, "Are you willing to face your opponents, in their court on their terms?" And Paul won't go for this, because he recognizes that he doesn't want to be tried by a court that really has no authority over him. And so often, who do we let judge us for the faith that we have and on their terms? I mean, so often, atheists want Christians to debate the faith, not on the basis of the reality of Jesus Christ's death and resurrection. They want it on their terms. And they want it on their terms. They go, why doesn't God conform to my ideas of what God should be? And so often we let the very opponents and rebels against God be the ones who make the judgment. No. And so Paul appeals to the law. He appeals to Caesar. And what's interesting is that this appeal will not lead to freedom, because appealing to the law never leads to freedom. It just more law. Well, thanks, my friends. Have a blessed day.